What's up, my fantastic human beings, y'all? I just finished a bike ride, and I like to put my my AirPods on noise cancellation because I just drown out the noise. Helps me think. Oh, excuse me. I bet you yawned, but this thing made me think, this particular situation. I was mowing the lawn earlier today, and it just rained a lot yesterday. So there was a part of my easement in my front yard that I can't mow because it's essentially underwater. So I have to go around the edges. And I have to cut the grass a little bit higher than I normally do because the grass is a lot thicker than it was around the winter time and spring. Now that it's summer, we're getting a lot more rain, so the grass is growing a lot thicker and more healthfully. So as I'm cutting the grass, some of the grass is still wet because of some of the soil is still moist because of the rain. On the inside of the lawn mower itself, when it is kicked out of the side of the lawnmower, it gets clogged up. When it gets clogged up too much at one time, it just builds up, and then the rest of it doesn't exit. So it just gets recycled on the inside until it makes it difficult. Then if I keep going, it makes it impossible for the blade to keep going, so the lawnmower shuts off. So what I do before that moment comes is when I realize that there's a block of a bunch of wet grass, I lift it up and I slam it down. It's more so out of frustration, laziness. Maybe it's laziness first and then frustration that I don't have the intestinal fortitude or the patience just to let go of the lever and turn off the lawnmower, get down to the level of my lawnmower and start, scooping out all that built up grass. So maybe I'm frustrated with myself that I'm not taking the time to do that. So what ends up happening is when I lift it up and I slam it down while the lawnmower is still going, remind you, it kicks. As soon as it hits the ground, a lot of it loosens up and then gets broken apart under the actual dome of the lawnmower, but it still doesn't kick out the rest of the built up stuff. So if I slam it enough times, that stuff will get loose and then get spit out. But over time, I've realized this just this afternoon, that the reason why I feel like ergonomically, when I'm pushing the lawnmower, it doesn't seem to be as easy. It just seems like it's getting lower, like the bar that you're holding on to that connects to the lawnmower just seems to get lower. And I always look down and see if the bolts are loose to readjust it, tighten it, maybe. But this afternoon, I realized that the bar is bending. So I shut off my lawnmower. I go to my truck and I put my the engine part of my lawnmower under the tailgate of my truck. And I lift it up and I push to bend the bar back to where it was prior to the warping or the bending of the bar. This fixed a lot of it. It adjusted it. It didn't fix it. It readjusted it about an inch higher than what it was before, when I realized, damn, after the last time that I slammed it, which was like minutes before I realized that the bar has been bending, I was able to get it back to where it was, but I realized that there was the bending of the bar. So I'm on my bike, fast forward now, I'm on my bike ride, and I'm thinking about the game and, you know, the pros and the cons, the paywall that, you know, players that, you know, pay a lot of money to get their hangers to where they are, the people who grind that don't pay anything to get their hangers to where they are. It just seems like, economy-wise, there's a wall, there's a ceiling. The players that pay a lot can either pay more or just halt their spending and transition their focus from spending to grinding without spending for a season. And the players who grind that hit the wall or the ceiling, they can either keep playing without the expectation of progressing, or they can spend a little and spend a season spending to get their hangers a little bit higher. And why I started thinking about it was that's a big topic of conversation with a lot of friends of mine that I'm playing PUBG with, that are current War Robot players. And, well, actually, there's two of us that dabble in the game still play it. And the other two completely gave up on it. And that's the big topic of conversation, which is essentially that paywall. The players that pay for strength at all means necessary, and the other players that grind. And it's like there's a consequence to keep going without shifting gears. And the gears that I'm saying in the shifting of gears would be the changing of focus, or changing with the season of where they are. Because wherever you end up finding yourself, you're unhappy. You're not excited to, you know, open up the app and then play another match, regardless of the variable that changes, which is the players that you're playing against and playing with. All the other variables are the exact same. Same weapons, the same robots, the same modules, the same titans, the same everything. What happens is, if you don't change with the seasons, or realize that there is a season that has just changed, you're left bending and warping. And it's not for the good. It really isn't, because you come to find out that, like my lawnmower, years go on and you don't see the changes. You don't see the warping of your bar, the bar for your mower. And then one day it gets so bad that it affects you physiologically, you know, your mind, body, neurologically. Your physiologically would be your neuromuscular system, your body, the way that you're presenting yourself, the posture, your breathing, your metabolism, the way that you're breaking down energy from food and using it for energy. That brain and body connection, there's something is just off. You may start getting sick. You may start, you know, joint pain, metabolic issues, depression, anxiety, all these different things that start to happen as a result of a lot of these things that are happening to your body because of inflammation and stress. Wherever that stress is coming from, the stressor, it's ignored or it's not seen. So when it comes to the game, when you're not recognizing that change in the season, it could be any game really, and you keep going in the same gear that you were in seasons past, you start to lose interest. You start to miscalculate. You start to play recklessly at the cost of not only your gear for that game, but also the players that depend on your acuity, your ability to think quickly. I know this all sounds pretty familiar, both as the metaphor of the lawnmower and the warping of the bar, and stress and not changing with the seasons as it relates to the game. So what do? Do you keep going? Do you shift gears? The players that pay a lot of money for their weaponry, their gear, all that stuff, do you pay more? Or do you take a season off from the pain, the transaction, or the transacting, or the exchange of money earned? Do you shift to a season of just playing, just grinding the way that you're used to before you start spending a lot of money on the game? And the players that grind so much, and they just was able to upgrade their level 9 skirts to 10, or their level 7 Nirvana to 8, or maybe they just got a Titan. I don't know. Do you keep grinding, staying in that same season? Or do you take a season and spend a little? Or do you take a sabbatical? Because really, that option is presented to everyone. Do you keep doing what you're doing? Do you change what you're doing? Or you take a break? Really, honestly, the players that spend a lot, I think that they'll get a lot of really good from taking a break and just grinding, or taking a break. The players that grind, I think they benefit from a break. Because either way, you want to feel like you're getting something in return from the monies that you've paid, without feeling like the inevitable is going to happen, is that whatever it is that you bought, there's going to be a depreciation, a nerfing, a readjustment. That's really anything in life, man, because it's like with my lawnmower. I can replace my bar that has been bending, and I don't change the blade, or I don't change the spark plug, or whatever, or the wheels on it. Well, all I'll have is a brand new bar and an aging lawnmower. Because I'm constantly adding fuel. Sound familiar? I know it sounds familiar, because all y'all know what I'm talking about. I literally have driven, this is my third loop around my neighborhood. And I'm seeing the school right here. The grass is growing high, y'all. The grass is growing high. And the person who cuts that grass uses a riding lawnmower. So they don't have the bar, but they have the seat. That seat can get really worn out over time, and then eventually becomes very uncomfortable. but they're presented with the same type of stuff. Things wear out over time. It's all about remembering your why. Why you're doing it in the first place. So I'm gonna leave you with that, man. Actually, I'm gonna leave you with this. I decided to make this car talk because I realized that I have been burned out. My bar has been bent and has been breaking for a long time. And somebody shared with me last night that they've been watching these type of videos, actually all my videos, for a long time. And they decided to go back to school. Go back to high school to get their diploma online. If I remember correctly, it was online. And this person's smart. This person is my age, essentially my age. This person has been through a lot. We've all been through a lot. And they decided to go back to school. And how awesome that is. The reason why is because when everything is going awry in one's life, all these challenges that we're presented with, opportunities for us to step up to the plate, glove up, and throw hands with the enemy, whether that's procrastination, depression, anxiety, hopelessness, helplessness, addiction, all that stuff. When we step up to meet that enemy head on, be like, you know what? We're gonna fight this one out because I'm tired of passing this opportunity, because you're always in my way. You're always jumping up and saying, you're not gonna get past me. It's kind of like the butler from Mr. Deeds. It just pops up, like, what? But when you step up to do something about it and replace your bar or change with the season or learn a new skill in the real world, not, pilot skills and all that stuff, you become a better version of yourself. And when you become a better version of yourself, you see within yourself your ability to inspire others to do the same in their own lives. May not necessarily be the exact same process. Going back to school, saying hi to that girl, or study for that exam you kept putting off, or going to the date that you kept saying no to, or going into that dinner party that freaked you out and you didn't want to be around a lot of people, or you didn't want to be harshly judged, whatever that thing is. You become a stronger version of yourself, happier version of yourself, a better version of yourself. And then tomorrow you wake up and you're proud of the person that you're becoming. It's real, y'all. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you, your family, and friends are happy, healthy, and safe. And then until next video, I'll see y'all then. I love y'all. Peace.